Have you ever caught yourself comparing yourself to a rival or to a friend, to a teammate? What happens then? Little by little, you start feeling smaller, don't you? Instead of focusing yourself on your own progress and being able to compete against your own self to become a stronger, better version of yourself, you stopped focusing on progress and instead started measuring your worth through theirs. Your mind splits, half of it is your craft, half of it is theirs. Their numbers, their body, their highlights, whatever that may be. And when that consistency then disappears, the overthinking starts happening more. You start overthinking every single move that you do. That leads you to burnout even before you begin. And I know you can feel this pressure deep down, thinking that you should be further along, that you should be doing better than this. The problem has nothing to do with your worth or if you're good enough or not. It's that every time that you're doing this constant comparison in your mind, you're becoming stronger at it. You're becoming stronger in doubting yourself every single time you rehearse. Remember, us humans are built strong by a repetition of whatever that is. So why does this constant comparison keep happening? If you ever felt this way, it isn't necessarily weakness, it's the wiring. It's okay because you're growing up in a world that's constantly ranking you endlessly. Grades, likes, dislikes, followers, status. With enough repetition of this, somewhere along the line, of course, we adapt to this because we're adaptable creatures. That's why as adaptive creatures, we've been building this confidence instead of stacking up to who we were to how we are. When you lack a strong self-identity, your brain then looks where? Outwards. For proof. Who's better? Who's ahead? When? Where? Now. Truth be told, your identity won't grow if it's borrowed. Think of your mind like a mirror. The more you stare at other people's reflections, other people's doing, thinking, and acting, the less you remember your own face, your own identity, your own likes and dislikes. You're not broken if you're lost on comparison. It's because since you haven't adapted to spending time by yourself, to yourself, individualism, you haven't spent enough time getting to know yourself. Solitude is where identity grows. That's why many athletes, especially the strongest ones, spend a lot of time alone, reflecting, journaling, walking in nature, mindful, or training in silence. That develops a true kind of confidence, a different type of confidence. Stop performing for the approval and start performing for growth, just like them. So what do most people do wrong? Trying to outperform others? This can lighten a fire up in you. Competition pushes growth. But the negative with this, the moment you win, the fire dies and you move on to the next worthy opponent. See how that works? You form a dependency, haven't you? Chasing validation. The positive of this, compliments feel good. They're supposed to feel good, but they're only going to fuel you for a little bit. So the negative of this is that the moment people aren't looking as much as they were looking before, the moment people stop noticing as much, what happens to your confidence? Is it sustainable? No, it collapses. Taking a break from social media. The positive, it clears the noise. It does ground you again. You do reset your dopamine again. The comparison doesn't necessarily vanish. It waits for your next scroll or your next comparison in real life or etc. That's why I don't believe in extremes. Everything should be done at a certain balance, at a certain pace. Positive affirmations, they sound empowering. They can convince you to empower yourself. But the negative with this is that without behavioral proof, without you being able to prove it to yourself, primarily on a daily basis, your brain doesn't believe them. Empty words. As a hypnotherapist, as a psychotherapist, I've worked with so many athletes who come in looking for the perfect affirmations. And sure, affirmations are powerful. That's why we talk about self-talk. We talk about the language that we use when we are asserting ourselves towards others. But these only work and they're only sustainable if you keep your own promises to yourself, if you take the necessary action to back it up. Confidence isn't enough. Yelling like King Joffrey, I'm king, I'm king. A person that's always yelling and not doing is no king. You must own up to your own words. True confidence is built by showing it to yourself every single day with your actions. Your actions are louder than your words. You do it every single day. Cognitive hypnotherapy, that's why I love that modality so much, because it addresses the cognitions, the beliefs, it addresses the emotions, and it helps you execute the behavior. All three in one go. The behavioral activation and the sacrificial and compensational behavioral goals, the actual proof of your actions, that releases the dopamine in the brain. I did it. I acted on it. That's why cognitive behavioral therapy paired with behavioral action, behavioral activation, those are key. That's a complete breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the mind. So what's the real fix, really? We can't erase comparison completely. Otherwise, how would we learn? All we have to do is switch the direction of it. You stop comparing sideways. Instead, compare forward. You compete with who you used to be, with who you were yesterday. You do that by anchoring yourself in solitude. When you spend time alone, you hear your own voice again. It's like unlocking the front door of your own peculiar mansion, a mansion that you forgot that belongs to you, that you owned. Every time you train in silence, that peace, that tranquility, and you reflect, you explore another dimension, another room in the mansion, a room full of gifts, memories, strengths, creativity that have always been there. They've always been yours. And then there's discipline. Take lifting weights. Most people hate it, let's be real. Most people would rather go for a jog or a walk or whatever, which walking is powerful. But lifting, when you hate it and you still do it, that's what becomes super ultra powerful. When you do something you really don't want to do, you prove that you can act beyond desire, beyond motivation. That is key. That's real confidence. Not narcissistic. Narcissistic is more along the lines of I'm better than everyone. And also not self-deprecating. I'm worse than everyone. I'm not as good as everyone else, etc. It is balanced confidence. I am capable only because I'm proving it to myself. I have proof. I did it today. I did it now. Another part of the fix is tracking your own growth. It should be measurable. Pick one exercise or skill that you've been trying to master. Track it ongoingly. You have to see your improvement to see what you can do better or what you're not doing that's not going very well. Just like in the gym, record your own progress. Reps, focus, and the execution of taking action. When you compete with your own PRs, with your own personal record, with your own data, your mind then stops chasing other people's scoreboards. They're not necessary anymore. That's how you win the only game that actually truly matters. Becoming a stronger, better version of yourself. So how do you apply it daily? Start your morning in solitude. No phone, no news. Leave it for later. No social media. Just you on your own. You, yourself, and you. Wake up with a guided meditation, a hypnosis recording, a spiritual devotional. Give yourself 20 to 30 minutes on this before the world starts talking at you. Because if you conquer the morning, you conquer the day. Then start moving. Lift, walk, stretch. Do something physical that reminds your brain that you're in control. After that, track your daily goals. Divide them into two types. Sacrificial goals, the things that you must do, that you need to do. And compensational goals, the ones that you like to do, that you would like to do, that you like to spend time doing. That's the reward phase that fuels you to be more productive the next day. End your day by asking, what did I prove to myself today? Write it down. One sentence is more than enough. These small doings build trust between you and your subconscious. And that's the foundation of true confidence, keeping promises to yourself. If you've been practicing these steps and you still feel stuck, if your emotions seem stronger than your logic, than your rationale, or you catch yourself comparing even when you don't really want to, that's when it's time to go deeper. That's where sports psychology and therapy come in. Sometimes it's not even a discipline problem. It's an emotional dysregulation that needs rewiring. At Revibe Therapy, we help with that. So if you're tired of trying to outthink the problem, reach out. We're here. Because the sooner you align your behavior and your mind, the sooner you stop comparing and start becoming. The easier everything gets, the more effortless everything gets. For more sports psychology, coaching, and therapy, tips and tricks, please like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you on the next video. Thank you for watching.